God damn, man. I am not doing this right. Shit. Maybe we can finally get this review started. So, Gravity Falls is a pretty good show. I've talked about it in the past on certain videos, but this is the real review of it. So, Gravity Falls is a good show, but it has a lot of flaws. Some of these flaws include, like, characters that I don't really care about, episodes that just feel like they go nowhere, and, you know, just, like, the way I put it is, the show is split into two different parts for me. One part is incredibly interesting, I love it, and the other part is just kind of bad, and it doesn't contribute to the overall story. Like, some shows that do that split, like, a main story and side stories, sometimes they do good. But, in my opinion, Gravity Falls does not. So, episodes 1 through 17 of the first season were not all that great. It was just, here's an obstacle for Mabel and Dipper to overcome, and they overcome it. And that's basically what happens. In episode 18, though, everything kind of accelerates and it becomes the show that I've been hearing about. You know, from, like, my cousin, from other people on the internet. Everybody has been saying how good the show is, and episode 18 is really where that starts for me. Episode 18, Mabel's pet pig gets kidnapped, and Stan has a choice in the episode to either save himself or save him and the pig, and he ends up doing a weirdly out-of-character thing, a noble thing, and he fights off a pterodactyl, which is ridiculous, I know, it sounds weird, but it kind of makes more sense once you know more about Stan and who he is, which gets to more spoiler stuff, but for now I'm going to keep it out of spoiler range. And the rest of Season 1 is awesome too, there's only 20 episodes. 19, the series' main villain gets introduced, Bill Cipher, and Bill Cipher is really creepy, really weird, kind of the perfect villain for the show. And the final episode is after Bill Cipher's plan fails. The other character that was looking like he would be the main villain of the show, but he wasn't, and I'm glad he isn't, because, God, even being a villain, he's just annoying. This other character, I can't remember his name right now, I'll put it up on the screen, whatever. He does something that I didn't expect. He actually steals Mabel, Dipper, and Stan's house. And it's kind of looking down for them. Like, it's the first time in the series that you're like, oh, maybe they won't win this time. And that's exciting. Like, when the outcome is really obvious, if they don't even try to trick you into thinking they might fail, it's boring. But in episode 20, the season finale of season 1, they don't really do that. They make it seem like everything's going to shit. And Dipper does something uncharacteristic of him, too. Dipper, for Season 1, has been like a character that's kind of afraid of everything. He's been trying to overcome it the entire time with, like, the Manitars and stuff like that. And he finally does something that's heroic in the season finale. He saves his sister and kind of the rest of the town. Mabel also does something pretty cool, and unfortunately for Dipper, that was the first and last time I liked his character. I just kind of wish they would have kept their characters, Mabel and Dipper, that way. The way they were after the season finale, instead of reverting them back to what they were before. For one episode, they were pretty cool characters, but then all through season 2, Dipper is back to the way he was before. He's, like, super insecure about himself. He doesn't know what he's doing. And, like, even the episode before the season finale, the 3-parter season finale, they're trying to pull that shit. Like, oh, I'm afraid of this thing, but I'll overcome it by the end of the episode. They've already done that. I thought he was already a good character, and then they just keep repeating they basically keep repeating his development from the season finale in episodes after that, and that shouldn't happen. He's already, like, overcome his fear of, like, you know, danger. Of course, you could argue, like, oh, it's like this new danger, but, like, no. I don't know, it's just like, after the stuff he's been through, it just seems like he should be able to kind of handle anything at that point, after all the things he's seen. But no, it's like, he's constantly afraid of the next thing and the next thing, even though, you know, he's basically fated to overcome it by the rules of the show. I don't know, I kind of wish his character would have evolved into something more badass or something like that, you know? Mabel is an okay character. She stays pretty much the same, although she she does have a lot of really cool parts in a lot of episodes. She keeps reverting back to like her old antics after she learns a thing. I don't know, that's like a problem I have with this show in general, is a lot of the characters that learn things about themselves or do things heroically just end up going back to the same stereotype character they were before. You know, I'm done rambling about them. I'm gonna move on to my favorite characters of the show, Stan and Stan. And this is where the spoilers begin. Leave now if you don't want them. So, if you've watched the show, you know what I'm talking about. Stanford Pines, who was the grandpa in the show, is actually Stanley Pines, Stanford's brother, and Stanford is kind of this scientific genius who opened a portal to another world of some sort. And Stanford, the real Stanford, is the writer of the book that is, like, confused Dipper and Mabel throughout the series. The reason they're so interesting, at least to me, is because they're kind of everything that I wanted Dipper and Mabel to be. They have a conflict going on between them. They're kind of bitter at each other for various reasons. And they stay bitter for a long time, even into the series finale. But the thing is, they end up resolving it. Like, take Dipper's character development, where he's not brave but he wants to be, and he ends up being brave in a couple of episodes and being like, yeah, I've overcome this obstacle, and then he goes back to being the same character. Stanford and Stanley, they overcome the obstacle at the end. They forgive each other, yada yada, and it stays that way. Of course, it stays that way because the series ended, but, you know, it's like changes that happen to them are more consistent. Like, they're like the real main characters of the series, even though they were trying to trick you, the creators of the show were trying to trick you into believing they were not. Like, all the arts of the show is like Dipper and Mabel and shit like that, and Uncle Stan, Grunkle Stan, is pushed into the back in a lot of photos that have to do with advertising the show. You would immediately assume he's just kind of a side character and you're not really supposed to care about him that much. But no, he's the most interesting character of the show, aside from Stanford, which I wish you got to know more about, but, you know, that's just because he only had like 6 or 7 episodes to do anything in. But it's like, the creators of Gravity Falls, what it feels like to me, it feels like they wanted to create a show. Like, a really good show with interesting characters that have mystery surrounding them, but under the guise of Disney that wants to make everything cutesy and all that, they couldn't really do that because they had to create like a kids show, basically. But it feels like what they wanted to originally do was create, like, I don't know, maybe a more teen show. I don't know about adult. There's no way. Not I can't see an adult show coming out of this. Like, teen at most, like Rick and Morty. But a show with a lot of suspense, mystery, and interesting things about it. It feels like they wanted to make that, but instead, because they were working under Disney, they had to make a super safe show, I guess, where the characters don't change too much, so it's easier to write episodes about them, and the main arc of the story is kind of in the back, so they don't have to overwrite it or think of new areas where it could go. It's just like piece it out among the more boring episodes, so that you have a really good story in the middle of kind of an okay atmosphere. Or no, in the middle of an okay show. So I don't really remember which episode was exactly when the whole Stanley thing was revealed. That doesn't really matter to me because almost all of season 2 was good. Even though Mabel and Dipper didn't really get developed throughout the series, I don't know why, but the quality of the humor, of the mysteries, and the side stories, they seem to improve in season 2. Season 1, there was like a handful of episodes, aside from 18, 19, and 20, that I liked. Like the Manitar one was pretty funny. That was about it. I don't know. More side stories like Seuss's and Pacifica's are developed, and they seem like interesting characters as well, but they leave most of that out because they just, I don't know, they didn't have time, they canceled season 3, whatever, I don't know. But season 2's quality is just vastly higher than season 1's. Like, I wouldn't say to start season 1 at episode 18 because you're missing a lot of like characters introductions and stuff like fuck, what was his name? Oh, Gideon. Shit, that's his name. Yeah, you're missing introductions of like Gideon and there's another character too. Wendy. Yeah. I don't know. So many forgettable characters in this show. I'm sorry. But I wouldn't really recommend skipping all of episodes 1 through 17. There are some good ones in there. Like, for sure, watch the first one because it kind of introduces the show. It's kind of like a pilot. You'll get the general idea. Watch a couple more episodes, then just skip to 18. Wait, was it 17? No, it was 18. I was right. The episodes in between are okay. They're just, I don't know. They're just not that exciting. I kind of already mentioned that. Fuck that. Cut it. But as for Season 2, don't skip any of it. It's almost all good, even though I don't like some of the characters. The quality of the episodes just goes up. It becomes a much better show in Season 2. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about is the finale. The series finale. It's like a 3-episode thing where Bill Cipher kind of takes over Gravity Falls, creates a portal into another realm, brings out a bunch of monstrosities, and attacks the town. I feel like it went on for way too long. I'm not gonna lie. Game Theory, in a GT Live video, they kind of said it best when it ended 3 times, and it kind of did. Like, I can point out 3 times when it should have ended in the last episode of the series finale. The first time when they're all at the portal, and they're getting ready to do their stuff, but of course they had to shoehorn in a reason that it gets delayed, and then Bill Cipher gets up, attacks them all, yada yada. Another time when it should have ended is just after Stanley made the final sacrifice of the series, which was awesome. I really liked that part, and I was like, yes, I forgive that first not really ending, because that was awesome. That was a really creative way to use past items right now. It was, God, it should have ended there because it was so fucking awesome. Like, seriously, god damn. If you aren't clear or you don't remember somehow, there's this like memory wipe device that they have, and Bill Cipher is a being that can like enter your brain. So Stanley dresses up like Stanford, and the whole point of Bill Cipher trying to attack the town and all that is to get into Stanford's brain and get out of Gravity Falls to terrorize and destroy the world and then the universe and all that. You know, pretty standard villain stuff, but I was okay with it. So Stanley dresses up like Stanford, Bill Cipher enters Stanley's mind, and Stanford uses the mind wipe gun on him and completely destroys Stanley's mind, and he makes the final sacrifice, and they kill Bill Cipher, and kind of Stanley along with it. He just turns into kind of a lost old dude. And it was really sad, and they really should have fucking ended it there, man. Like, holy shit, that would have been like a not Disney ending, and that's kind of why ending 3 happened, where mysteriously and for no reason Stanley gets all of his memories back, and yay, it's such a good ending, woo. There was no reason he should have gotten his memories back. Stanford was like, no, there's no way to bring him back, he's gone, and no, he's back. Okay, sure, he's back, okay, fine. Well, shit. Now it's a shitty ending. But yeah, it could have ended twice before, and then it finally ended a 3rd time, where it hinted at another season, and it'll never happen because the creator of the show is like, nah, I'm not doing another season, I want to move on to other stuff. But yeah, in my opinion, the first 2 episodes, like, this is overall, the first 2 episodes of the series finale didn't need to happen. I would have been fine if Dipper and Mabel just made their way to the cabin where Stanley was, and then the 3rd episode unfolded from there. I would have been fine with that. And I did not like how it ended. It should have ended at the 2nd ending, and it would have been fucking awesome. I know it's not Disney, and I know it's not a happy ending, but it would have kind of emphasized how much Stanley grew to love his niece and nephew. I don't know. I feel like it should have been like that because it would have been like the ultimate sacrifice. I don't know. But that's not kid friendly. Oh well. If you want, you can just pretend it ends there. I don't know. Just whatever. So yeah, that's kind of it for my review. Just as an overview of everything I've said so far. I liked Dipper in the season 1 finale. I thought Mabel was okay throughout the series. Side characters like Seuss, Gideon, Wendy. I did like Seuss. I did like Seuss in certain episodes, like all of his backstory stuff. I won't talk about that though, because if you've watched this, if you've watched the series, you already know why he's a cool character. Ugh. Need to get more water. Stan and Stan are my favorite characters of the series, and the series. Fuck me. And the series finale was kinda shit at the end, and I didn't really like it that much. So that's it. Goodbye.